Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Off the Clock. I'm your host, Sierra Jones. Today we have UAH head women's basketball coach, Coach Andrea Lemmond, who has actually been here for 10 consecutive seasons, which is really impressive in my opinion. Without further ado, let's get her off the clock. Welcome back. So Coach, if your team was sitting right behind me, how would they describe you?
They'd probably describe me as very laid back,
Okay.
very mom-like. I'm a mother of two boys. They always keep asking me when I'm going to have a little girl. I said, I got 15 girls. I'm set.
You're good.
No, very laid back. They know when I start yelling that they've really pushed a button.
Yeah.
Because I really don't yell a whole lot. I yell a lot at the officials, but not
That's
so
a good
much at my
reason.
team unless they really need to pick me up.
That's funny. And then so that's how your team would describe you. How would you describe you?
Probably the same way.
Yeah.
I may come off very laid back, but I feel like the wheels are always turning. One of the things that we talk about a lot, kids, especially young women, they need a lot of encouragement. And as, kind of a coach's perspective, you're always looking at kind of what's wrong and what do I need to fix and how can I help them get better. So that's one thing that my assistant coach and I talk a lot about. I'm like, I need you guys to really encourage them a lot because they don't get a whole lot of that from me.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm trying to work on. But like I said, just a coach's perspective, you're always locked in trying to see, all right, what can we do better?
That's
How can
true.
I help you get better this way? And a lot of times that comes off in kind of a negative tone, I think.
And it's up to having that, what they call it, sandwich effect, compliment, the criticism compliment.
Yep.
But that is really hard to do.
Yep.
Now, as a coach, how did you get started? Is there someone that influenced you? What was the moment you knew that you wanted to be a coach?
I played at Samford University in Birmingham, and I had 7 knee surgeries while I was in college. I almost had a knee surgery every semester I was there for the first 3 years. So I didn't really get to be on the court a whole lot. So I got a very different perspective, being on the sidelines, being injured, and thought that I would plan to go into physical therapy school because I felt like I went through all these surgeries.
Yeah, why not?
I had great experience with my PTs and trainers and things. I was like, well, maybe that's the direction that God is kind of pushing me in. Little did I know, I was learning so much from the sideline, a different perspective, kind of a coach's perspective. So I think I kind of turned into a coach during those injury years. But then when I graduated from Samford, I got a call from my head coach, I guess a week before graduation, and he offered me a job.
Wow.
I had not planned on coaching, and I actually turned it down. And he couldn't believe it. And then I went on to, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks later, I was working down in New Orleans where I was working with my family's business, Hurricane Katrina, doing disaster relief with them for a few weeks. And I got a phone call with another coaching job opportunity at Huntington College. So I was like, all right, that's two coaching job offers, within a month of graduating. So I just jumped in and tried it out.
Wow. And you went to Huntington first, or did you end up going to Samford?
I went to Huntington first.
Right.
So I was there for 2 years. My head coach quit after the 4th game of the season, I think.
Oh, wow.
And I was the only assistant coach, so it was a very interesting.
You got thrown into the fire.
It's like, hey, here you go. You need a practice plan because I'm out of here.
Oh, wow.
And then went back to Samford and was there for 6 years before I got this opportunity.
And at Huntington, at Samford, even now, is there a pregame ritual that you do before the games? Has it changed?
I always do my hair before the game.
That's a big one.
Yep. Kind of do all our pregame stuff, our pre-practice, eat a team meal with the players, and then go home and take a shower and do my hair because most of the time it's on top of my head in a bun or a ponytail or sweaty. So I guess that would be my pregame ritual.
Do you listen to music while is that like your time to just like cool down, relax, get your mind right for the game? Or
I do a little bit.
Yeah. What's your music choice?
My all-time kind of feel-good song. It's going to sound a little crazy.
No, hit me with it.
Hush by Afro Man.
Really?
It might be the only clean song that he has, so my kids think it's
That is
hilarious.
awesome.
So if I'm ever in a bad mood or they think it's going to be a tough practice, they'll put that on the speaker out here. And then I'll just start singing for them. Like it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, and then just all the anger just goes away. You're good.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, look, Coach, also, I read about and also learned that you were pregnant when you were here at UAH. How was that experience? How did you manage coaching and also having a baby inside of you?
Yeah.
How?
It wasn't easy. It was
Yeah.
definitely a challenge, but I mean, it was something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to have kids. I didn't think it would come my second season as a head coach.
Yeah.
He was born November the 30th, so 4 games into a 28-game season.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was very afraid that I was going to go into labor on the sidelines, kind of running, chasing officials in my high heels and stomping at them. But luckily I did not. And Jax, he'll turn 8 this November, which is crazy to me. But his first road trip was our Mississippi swing. So Delta State and Mississippi College, he was 5 weeks old.
Oh. Who took care of him during the game?
Well, my husband, I guess my husband and I drove up with him. We followed the bus to our first game, spent the night, played the game, and then my parents drove over because he had to go back to work and picked me up and took me on to the second game.
And do your kids come to practice?
Oh, yes. They grew up in this gym. They think they own this gym. When Jax was first learning to read a couple of years ago, I hear, uh-oh. And I turn around, I was like, what'd you do? He had pulled the fire alarm because it said pull down. And he was just kind of learning to read. He's like, it said pull down, so I pulled down. I was
can't
like,
get mad.
oh my gosh. I ran to the administration office. I was like, Jax, just pull the fire alarm. I don't know how to turn it off. Like I was trying to put it back. And oh yeah, we had to evacuate the building. Fire truck showed up and they were like, what happened? I was like, I don't know. What happened? I was like, Jax, go to the car, go to the car.
That is hilarious. And also, so you mentioned being in high heels and all the above. Did you have like an extra, because I know some coaches have like the little bench to sit on or a little chair to sit out. Were you still walking and down the sideline?
I never sit down.
Oh, so you don't? No.
I never sit down.
Wow, okay.
I'll sit down right before tip-off.
Okay.
And then I'm up on my feet the whole time.
So that didn't change at all when you were pregnant either? Wow. That is impressive. Not everyone's able to do that.
Well.
Well, look, before we go on break, I have a question for you. So you mentioned about your injuries, your knee injuries. And now if there's someone listening and watching right now, what advice would you give them, not only if they want to be a coach, but also an athlete out there that has been battling through some injuries? Is there anything that you would give advice for how to persevere through it? Or what did you do to help you get through it mentally and physically as well?
Well, I think my first one, I tore my first ACL the night before my first college game as a freshman. So I had never had to be sidelined. I had never missed a game my entire high school career.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of devastated. We were down at the University of Alabama getting ready to play them the next night, and it was like one of the last plays of practice. So my first one I did not handle very well. Because I just felt like my life was over. Oh my gosh, this was my dream to play college basketball. Here I am, and it's been taken away from me. And then I tore my other one 7 games into the next season. But then I was like, I know what I have to do. Like I've been through it. I know it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But I had such a different perspective going into that second surgery. And I healed so much better. I progressed a lot faster. And like I said, just being on the sideline, being able to see it from a different perspective, like take that opportunity to grow and to learn. And the better mindset you have, the much better it's going to be, because that was just a night and day difference in those 2 recoveries.
Yeah, and then your senior year, were you injured your senior year, or you were able to?
My last 2 years were basically my only 2 years on the court. So out of 5 years, I had 2 really good years.
Yeah.
And just I wouldn't trade it for anything.
But that says a testament to not only you physically but mentally, because I feel like I have played with some teammates who, after that first injury, the ACL or whatever, they were done for. They weren't able to shoot a layup like they used to. You know what I mean? Jump like they used to. So that's a testament to you mentally that you're able to get past that barrier. So I do feel like that's the biggest jump, in my opinion.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Like I said, having gone through it the first 2 years, and really that third year was a whole year of just trying to get my strength back, get my speed back, get my confidence back. And I'm not going to lie, there were times where I thought, all right, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I just need to, move on and try to do something else. But I'm so glad I didn't walk away from it because my last 2 years were really special for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, before we go, what advice would you give anyone that wants to be a coach in this profession?
I think, as an assistant coach and as a player, you think you know a lot.
Yeah.
I found out very quickly as a head coach there were a lot of things that I did not know. So I think just trying to pull from as many coaches, as many resources as you can to learn and really dive in to learn more ins and outs of the game. And when you do get that opportunity to kind of run your own program, do it your way. Do it your way. Don't try to be your college coach or your high school coach. You learn things from them, good and bad.
Yeah.
That all right, this is how I want to do things. I know that's not how I want to do things, but just really kind of owning it and doing it your own way.
I love that. I love that. That's some really good advice. Be you. We'll see you guys right back.
The greatest asset we have is our employees.
I'm very excited to welcome you to our new corporate website.
The National Space Club was founded as the National Rocket Club in 1957.
In North Alabama, we are extremely blessed.
Truth Home will test your hearing in everything, the good things and the bad things. In everything, give him thanks.
Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain?
Welcome back. So, Coach, when you're not here in this gym, and you're not in your office, what does an off day look like for you?
Depends on whether or not my kids are in school.
Okay.
No, my family and I, we love to go out to Lake Gunnersville, spend a lot of time on the lake. We have a small little camper that's just big enough for the four of us, my little family, and we spend a lot of time just outside and enjoying the lake. And
Okay, and then if your kids are in school and it's just you, what do you like doing for yourself or just when you're by yourself?
probably going to go eat some sushi.
Ooh, solid. What restaurant?
I like Kona.
Yeah, that place is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to kind of venture out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love sushi. I think I could eat sushi for every meal of every day, but my husband or my kids don't like it, so I'm usually doing it by myself.
Have you tried Oshi downtown?
Oh yes, love
Okay.
love that one.
Yeah, that one's
For
solid.
sure.
I'm a sushi fan too. That's awesome. That's really awesome. So now when you're not here, you're Lake Gunnersville or getting some sushi. But tell us about your family when you're with them at the lake. So you have two boys, right?
I have two boys. Jax is about to turn 8. He's in 2nd grade, and Riggs is 5. He's in kindergarten. They are nonstop. They are all boy. It's usually trying to chase them around a little bit. They got some scooters, like the little kick scooters.
The one, yeah.
Riggs was just 2.5 when we first got his. And I mean, I couldn't believe how we rode 6 miles one day.
Oh, wow.
And so I realized quickly that I could not run behind them or keep up with them. So I had to buy me a little electric scooter to kind of ride behind them to make sure that I can keep up with them. I didn't tell them it was electric at first.
That is hilarious.
I acted like I was kind of scooting, but I was hitting the gas,
And you're the only female in the house. How do you cope with that?
I have to, well, my husband has like a man cave downstairs.
Okay,
so that's like the football workout area
Yeah.
downstairs. And then my kids, we have like a loft upstairs
that's
that's
cool.
kind of part of the garage, and we turned that into what we call the bat cave.
Oh, I love
So that's
that.
like the little man cave, and
Yeah.
Dad's got one downstairs. So I get my own space a little bit of time. So when they're in their caves, I might binge watch a little Bravo
Okay.
TV.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I'm a big
love
reality
that.
show.
I like that. And probably get
stuff.
your mind off of everything too for a minute. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your husband. So how long have you guys been married? And where did you guys meet?
We've been married 12 years. We met at Samford.
Oh, wow.
I think what kind of drew me to him, he was wearing an ACL brace. And so walked up to him and started talking to him about his knee injury. So that was kind of one of our first conversations. But we really didn't kind of re-spark or anything until I came back to Samford to coach. And I was out to lunch with some of his former football coaches, because he played football at Samford.
Okay.
And he came over and kind of started talking to them a little bit.
And he coached too at Samford, or?
He did not.
He did not.
No.
Okay. And your husband has a podcast.
He
Tell us
does.
about the podcast.
The Fit Fat Dad podcast. It's something new. I was kind of looking at all this stuff that you guys have set up right here, and I feel like every 3 or 4 days we've got Amazon boxes on the front porch that has more equipment, more lights, more microphones, more TVs, monitors, all this stuff. He's had a lot of fun with it. He does it with a buddy of his that owns a gym here in town. So
Awesome.
they say it's two dads that are kind of fit, kind of fat, and they're talking all things faith, family, and fitness from Dad's perspective. So
I love
they've
that.
had fun with it.
I love that. So look, before we go, how do you balance being a mom, being a wife, being a coach, all the above? How do you balance it?
Just take it day by day. You know, like I said, my kids have basically grown up in this gym. They come to practice with me. They go to the weight room with me. When Jax was, like I had him early in the season, my second year here, so there was a lot of 6 a.m. practices where I had him strapped to me, in the baby carrier. But my girls love him. I don't really trust people. I don't have babysitters. I don't, do the babysitting service or whatever, because I just don't really trust people to take care of my kids.
Yeah.
But my players are the only ones that I'll allow to kind of keep my kids, and they'll come over. And I think they have more fun with the boys' toys.
Probably.
We went out to dinner one night, and I walked in, and I had all 5 freshmen were over at the house. I said, come over to the house, just hang out with the boys. Me and Graham are going to go to dinner. And I walked in the kitchen. They didn't hear me coming. I walked in the kitchen, and Andy, our point guard, was on the boys' hoverboard, rolling through the kitchen with a karaoke mic. So they love it.
That is awesome.
They're definitely part of the family.
That is really, really cool. It says a lot too about your program. They want to be around you, your kids, all the above, and I'm sure each other. And that starts with you as a head coach. So that's awesome. That is really awesome. Well, talking about our point guard, we'll be right back to hear about this upcoming season.
Hello Huntsville is a weekly lifestyle audio and video podcast produced in studio and on location to showcase Huntsville's best activities, entertainment, neighborhoods, and all the unique attractions that make the Rocket City one of the top cities to live in the nation. Our primary audience is adults who live, work, play, and innovate in the Huntsville metro area. And each episode will feature Cynthia Joyner in conversation with business owners, decision makers, elected officials, and some of the city's most compelling personalities telling the stories of her hometown. Whether you're local, new in town, or just passing through, Hello Huntsville will have something for you.
Welcome back. So, Coach, is there any other sports that you follow besides obviously basketball?
My husband would like me to follow football.
Yeah.
That's kind of been a struggle because he played college football. But I have just recently gotten into where I'm trying to learn more of the rules and understand the game more, because my son is playing 8U full pad football.
Oh.
So I'm learning much more about it.
Has he started this year?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
How has that been watching him play? Does it make your heart stop when he gets hit, or?
They don't hit very hard in 8 and under. Depends on what team we're playing.
Right.
Some of those kids, I'm like, we need to check some birth certificates.
Right, they look a little too
boys.
big.
But no, I think one of the things is, with my husband and I both being college athletes, like we want our kids to be into sports.
Right.
Riggs, my 5-year-old, has no interest in any of it right now. We think he might be an MMA fighter because he is just, he's little, but he's mighty.
He's feisty.
Oh, yes.
Does he like to jump off of things?
Oh, yes, he loves to climb. I'll hear him calling for me, and he's either hanging from the cabinet trying to get in the microwave, or he's on the top shelf in the pantry.
I don't know, you might have a gymnast on your hands.
We might.
You might.
We might. But it's been fun to watch. Jax is still a little bit nervous as far as like hitting, somebody.
Right.
We're like, son, you got to hit first. You cannot wait to be hit. Like you got to deliver it first. So that's been fun to kind of see the development of that.
Yeah, that is. I'm sure it'll come as he gets older and probably understanding the sport too.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, let's get into it about this upcoming season. So do you have any returners, a lot of new kids? Tell us about that.
We're very young.
Okay.
Very young. Last year we had 6 freshmen, and most of them started.
Wow.
So they got to grow up a lot last season.
Yeah.
We had two freshman point guards that run my 1-2 position with Andy and Maddie, who were playing 34, 36 minutes a game. And like I said, just the youngness of that, they got so much experience. Haley Nichols was a transfer that came in from UT Martin, but really had not played a full season yet because of COVID and because of an injury. So that was really kind of her first full year on the court with us as well, and she was our starting post player. So they grew up a lot.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We didn't win as many games as we wanted to, but we're really starting to figure things out kind of towards the end of the season. And now those 6 are sophomores with a ton of experience. So we've also got 4 freshmen. So majority of our team is very young.
That's exciting though for the growth. Yeah.
And we've got 1 senior and 3 juniors.
Wow, that's awesome. And your style of play, we see a lot of up-tempo, 4 out, 1 in. What is it looking like for you this year?
We're trying to play a little bit faster.
Okay.
So we're trying to kind of push the ball in transition. When I played at Samford, and I learned the whole Princeton offense system from my coach down at Samford, and I loved playing in that system.
Yeah.
So it's basically 4 out, 1 in. I love a strong post player, so you'll see our post players get a lot of touches, a lot of early touches. They're always kind of the first and second option within our system, but then everything else, kind of the other 4, it's pass, cut, move, and our post player, if she can't get the ball on the block, now she's our screener. She set a bunch of ball screens, flare screens, back pins, that kind of thing. So
when there's people coming in, they're about to watch this game, what are you expecting? What can us watching expect to see from your girls and how they play?
I think what you'll see from this group, they are high energy.
Oh, that's awesome.
High energy. This has probably been the most fun preseason that I've had since I've been here, and this is my 10th season here at UAH. They enjoy being around each other. They're feisty. They're always talking. They're always chest bumping and doing all kind of the fun stuff. So they've been so much fun to be around, and they work so hard and they push each other. So I think that's what you guys are going to see if you come back and watch us play. This group has fun together on the court.
Yeah, and the community being here and watching, how can the community help and support UAH? And also from your perspective, what are you doing as well to bring the community to come to these games?
I think, with us, we lead the Gulf South in attendance, which is huge for us.
Yeah.
Because all of our games are double headers. We play right before the men every game, and I think our crowd support, our community support has been phenomenal. We actually just did a fundraiser for a new locker room.
Oh, awesome.
Something that's kind of been a dream of mine for about 3 or 4 years, but I knew it was going to take a lot of money to get it done. So our team actually worked several events. We worked 16 games out at Trash Pandas, running the concession stand, and let me tell you, you can learn a lot about your team in a service industry.
Yes, I bet. The
like
pressure
that.
and all the above.
But we had a lot of fun with it, and we were able to raise a lot of money, and then the community really came in and helped us reach our goal for that.
So looking at the schedule, is there any team that you're looking forward to playing, a big game that during this season?
Well, we open up at the University of Alabama November 1st.
that's
with an
fun.
exhibition game. So that's always a really neat experience. My husband asked me to put it in the contract that we get to see the football locker room, or that he gets to see it while we're there. And they're actually going to try to accommodate us for that, which is going to be a really neat thing. But like for our conference is so big. We play 24 conference games, so we don't get a whole lot of out of conference. We get maybe 4 games a year out of conference, but we do have 3 exhibition games. Like I said, we'll open up at Bama on the 1st, and then we'll also go to Jacksonville State and also go across town to Alabama and A&M.
Okay. And in the conference, who is the rival or the biggest competition you see for you guys this season?
Our league is so competitive, kind of the ones that have kind of been at the top the last several years consistently is always Union and Lee, so those are always big games for us. Valdosta State and West Florida are always very tough teams, but there's not an easy night in the Gulf South Conference, which makes it a lot of fun.
Right, and you probably sure it's like not a heart attack, but you never know what you're going to get and what team is going to show up, so I'm sure that keeps you on your toes big time.
Oh, yeah.
Big
But
time.
I'm excited to get to play Alabama A&M again.
Yeah.
Coach Richards and I have kind of talked about we need to do this every year. We used to just kind of do it as a closed scrimmage to start it, so we pretty much played every year since she's been there. But now we're doing it, more of a real game, so that the community and the fans can come out. So we'll be at their place this year, and then she'll come back to us next year.
What date is that again?
I believe that's November 21st.
November 21st. And that's like a regular season game. That's not an exhibition, right?
Well, it counts as an exhibition for us, but
Okay.
yes, I believe it's a regular season game for them.
Okay. That's going to be a fun game also for recruits as well to come.
It is, and we've got one of our transfers this year, Ikea Elam, played over there last year, so she transferred in over here, and so she'll get to play her old team.
Yeah, that's awesome. So November 21st, right?
November 21st.
Okay. Well, Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, and just you shared a lot of good knowledge as well, and I admire you just with what you've persevered, not only when you were at Samford, but just now, because it's really cool to see a coach, especially in college basketball, has been here as long as you have and willing to bring the program what you came into and what it is now. You've seen a lot of growth, and even your recruiting in Huntsville. Look on the roster, you at least usually have between 2 to 3 girls from Huntsville, and that says a lot because it is harder now to keep kids in state and city too. So thank you. Well, you guys can catch UAH November 10th and 11th here. And also you can catch November 21st, right, against A&M. Coach, thank you so much for your time. You are inspiration, and thank you for what you're doing at UAH along this community.
Well, thank you for having me.
Join us next week to see who's off the clock.